Hey, happy Sunday, everybody. How's it going, brother?
Hey, how are you doing, man?
I'm good. I'm good. If it's your first time here, welcome to Comics and Chaos. I'm Phil, One True Nerd King, and my esteemed colleague, Mr. Rage Theo. How you
Hey
been,
guys,
man?
I'm Rage. I like to party, but we normally party with just comics. So let's get into it today.
Let's get into the show. We've got a couple of great guests. We've got a lot of things to cover. So without further ado, all right.
Man, that looks better every week.
Every single time. Shout out to Posh. Shout out to Posh. Shout out
Shout out to
to
Posh.
all of our happy helpers and our devs there in chat. Thankfully, we don't leave you a hard job, but because we don't have a lot of people in here messing with us. But at the same time, too, we do appreciate you. So thank you guys all very much. Posh, devs, everybody. Thank you.
Yep.
So that said, let's start bringing out our two guests this evening. No strangers to YouTube in any way, shape, or form. From here, Beyond Wednesdays, Mr. Bryan McClay. How's it going, brother?
What's up, guys?
Look at this guy.
How you doing, man?
I'm stoked. I'm glad to be here. I love, like I said last time on the show, I love doing your guys' show because I just get to sit back and chill. I don't have to do any producing. I don't have to run the boards. I don't have to do anything but have a good time. And that's what it's about.
Just here to hang and be pretty, brother. We appreciate it every single time. Every single time. And speaking of friends, Swagglehaus.
Hey.
What's going on, brother?
What's going on, guys? Thanks again for inviting me on the show. This is appearance number 2. I think I actually, Bryan.
Appearance number 2 for both of you guys.
Yeah. I think we got to do it actually together last time, so it's good to run it back. The tag team once again.
Dynamic duos here. Dynamic duos. So it's been a whirlwind week for everybody. Lots of different things going on in news. Everybody's been busy, I'm sure. But there's a particular person here who's been kind of busy this week. Had a big announcement. Swag, when it comes down to things, it seems to be that you've got yourself a little bit of a project running right now. Am I right?
I do. Yeah. Kind of exciting news on the swag side of the YouTubes here. But I decided to kind of put my name into the comic book creating hat and put out my own comic book Kickstarter, which just launched this past week. And, it's been something, a project that I've definitely wanted to do for quite some time outside my YouTube persona. In my real work life, I work in film and entertainment. I do a lot of screenwriting and stuff, and writing a comic book has always been a goal of mine. And I kind of figured, with a YouTube channel that talks about comic books, maybe there would be a little bit of an audience that'd be willing to help, support my goal and my creative endeavor into this space. So, I jumped in and wrote a comic book, and we just launched the Kickstarter for it. So kind of exciting times.
And you met your goal within 24 hours, bro.
I was just going to say that. Looks like you've already exceeded your goal, man. That's incredible.
Yeah. I've been super fortunate, just a lot of support from people and friends and everything. And so, I'm really thrilled. I'm really humbled, and I'm looking forward to getting it into people's hands. I just hope that they enjoy it.
Well, let's show everybody a little bit of a teaser for the book here real quick before we get into everything else. Let's check this out because I was pretty impressed.
Tell me, Mr. Grant, what do you know about the unknown? The place where nightmares become reality and reason falls apart. The place where unspeakable horrors cause one to question their own sanity. Are you prepared to know more?
That looked like a movie.
Nice.
That looked like
That looks-
you coming out with a movie too, Mikey. Jeez.
You know,
Man.
just gotta make it kind of fun and cool. And so, yeah, that was the trailer we put together.
Wow.
I love it, man. I love it. Absolutely. And you know, I love the Lovecraftian concept that you throw it right out there in front of everybody. This has that major vibe and feel to it. And this has a lot of different entry points too for different kinds of people that are interested in comics as well. Like, you know, you see a lot of things out there, and you know, I'm used to a lot of different Kickstarters, and I love comic book Kickstarters because it's got something for everyone to participate in. And I really thank you for doing that, because some people, you know, when they see a Kickstarter, they're always thinking like, you know, $50, $100, $300, $1,000, you know, just for these, because they see like, you know, technology Kickstarters and all these other different things. But we've got lots of
I think we're losing you
awesome
there.
levels of end to $20 for the different bundles that you've got available out here. And these are, and you're shipping anywhere in the world.
Yeah.
You know, you're just like, listen, if you're down with this, we're going to get it to you. I love that.
Yeah. I might regret that later, you know, because it was one of those like, I mean, you know, I've never shipped to a lot of countries, but I just decided, hey, I'm going to figure it out. If you're willing to help, support, want to give it a read, I want to try to get it in your hands. So
Just remember, it's all about the HIS code. Okay.
all right, I'm gonna have to
When
offline
you're
with
doing
you
the
about that
customs
later
form,
on.
it's
You're
all
gonna hear
about
from
the
me.
Yeah, hit me up. I do international
Okay.
orders because of whatnot and IG claim sales, but it's all about that customs form.
You got to tell me what is an HIS code, Theo? You're talking foreign to a guy that doesn't
I don't know
sell
what it.
comics.
I honestly, I'm not gonna lie. I don't know what it stands for, but it's like an international code that you have to use for like comics and collectibles, and that's how they know what's the contents of the package.
Got it.
No
So
shit.
it's kind of like an international media mail.
Yep. And
Really
then you
cool.
kind of got to put like how many books there is, and then they match it with like the weight. Okay, this is like the average weight of comics. Okay, we don't need to open this. This isn't drugs. So good to go. You know.
Got it. Okay.
It's not drugs.
Yeah.
It's not drugs.
Yeah.
It's not
Mickey's like, shut up, dude. Come on.
Yeah.
man."
Phil, what did you think that the expensive tiers include? You know?
Yeah.
Listen, I'm trying to keep it clean. All right. We got sensors on this thing. All right.
Yeah. It says
I mean, he is shipping from California,
comic
so you know.
book. You know, comic book is code.
I have not had the chance to monetize yet, guys. Don't screw this for me. Okay? No, but man, congratulations. That's really awesome. And I'm really excited. I am excited to participate. I'm excited to get a copy of this book. I like the fact I get a digital copy of it too. You know, it's everything's looking hella dope, brothers. So congratulations again. This is awesome.
Thank you. I really, really appreciate it. And yeah, I mean, I had to throw in the digital copy for everyone because, you know, us being collectors, it's like, I know what it is. Like, I don't want to touch my copy. I don't want to open it, you know?
Yeah.
But
Question, are you going to have a reprint or a facsimile for this?
I think if I get to the point where you know, where I have to make a second print, I probably change the cover or at least the color or something like that, you know, when I get there. So
I respect it.
Well, anybody looking to participate, make sure you get to Swagglehaus's page. You can find him on Instagram. You can obviously find this man on YouTube, and he'll have a link to his Kickstarter there. And I encourage you to check it out.
One more question with regards to that. Are you, as far as distribution goes, are you going to be doing this specifically on like your website? You're going to drop this on Instagram, whatnot, eBay? What's going to be the method for dishing this out?
Yeah, I think when eventually, you know, obviously the Kickstarter stuff will all get fulfilled to those people. And I'll just be doing that fulfillment myself. And then with, you know, the extra copies I'm able to print for me, I'll probably create an online store specifically for it. So I'll start there, you know, and then if people take it to eBay or whatnot, or whatever they decide to do with it, you know, by all means, you know, go for it, you know, at that point.
Awesome.
You know, one of the things I forgot to say last night when Swag was on the show is that, he, for doing like a Lovecraftian kind of noir type thing, he's got the perfect name for an author, Mickey Finnegan. That is perfect, bro. Like it hits like perfect for a 1940s noir type
Like
thing.
gangster.
So
On the
gangster,
door kind
you
of
got
thing,
it.
like
Yeah,
with the name,
totally.
Yeah,
private
He's in
PI
New York
underneath it
over
kind of
there.
thing.
Yeah.
Mickey
Watch out for
Finnegan,
Mickey.
PI.
yeah.
I love
That's
it.
what he
No,
gets
you're
to do.
absolutely right, Bryan. Good call, man. 100% true. 100% true. Well, that said, Theo, we've got some things to talk about tonight.
Yeah, so main entree, that was a fantastic appetizer. Main entree tonight, guys, we're going to be talking about mystery boxes and raffles. Mystery boxes and raffles. It seems that a lot of people have been talking about them. It's going to talk around the community. There's a lot of people that do it. There's some people that do it right. There's some people that don't really do it right. But we're going to get into that tonight. We're going to talk about that.
So, that being said, obviously, like Theo said as well, there are some people that do things right. There's some people that don't. We can all say there's been lots of different points and counterpoints from it. In my opinion, just to put that out there too, I do feel like there's a difference between subscription boxes and mystery boxes. I feel like subscription boxes, you know what you're getting. And so before we get into the in-depth conversation on it, at least to me, myself, I consider this a difference in the fact that I know, 80 to 90% of what's in a box if I'm signed up for a subscription box, versus, a mystery box where it's just like, hey, this cool book may be in there.
That's a great
Mystery box.
Yeah. That's a big point because the biggest complaint that I see coming from, that area of the collecting right now is obviously, and this is very obvious, is people getting quote unquote ripped off, right? And with a subscription box, like you said, it's kind of hard to get ripped off if you know what's going to be in there. Now, there's also people in the subscription box world that don't understand that, right? So I think that's very important to push that out there, that we need to make a distinction between the two and let people know, if you're doing a mystery box, do your best to say, this is what's going to be in it this month. And if you want to throw something else extra in there, say you have a chance to get this, right? We see that a lot in cards too. There's a lot of people that do subscription boxes for like breaking unopened packs, right? And they say when you order that subscription box that month, it says you have a chance of getting, two of the, or this pack, this pack, this pack, this pack. You're going to get at least one, maybe two, and here are the packs that are available this month. So at least what you're going to get in there, pack wise. The comic thing needs to follow suit, in my opinion. But it's a little bit harder to do. So, like, how do they do that? Is my question.
Well, it's also too because, like, at least in terms of what I think, like, for a subscription box versus like a mystery box. Like, when I think subscription box, I think of like things like Loot Crate or something, where it's like, yeah, you're gonna get like one pop figurine, you're gonna get maybe like a print sketch card or something. You might get a comic in there. You might get a T-shirt. So it's kind of like you sort of know these things that you're going to get, and you're not so concerned, I think, with maybe the value of that one thing. You just it's like an item. It's like an item list of things versus like a mystery box of comic books. Usually, it's like, hey, you're going to get X amount of dollars of value more than whatever the mystery box value is, and then therein becomes like maybe some of that controversy part where it's like subjectively, like, do you feel like it is that value? Do you feel like it's more? Maybe it's less. Like, so I think that's kind of where some of the controversy goes. But I'm curious with you guys, like, do you guys ever get mystery boxes or raffles, or like, is that something that you guys have ever been interested in?
So I've never bought a mystery box. And for anybody that's new to the channel, I sell a good amount on eBay, whatnot, Instagram. I've never done a mystery box or a raffle. Coming from the seller standpoint, my mindset's always been, if you have something for sale, right, you should say what it is, you should say what the grade is, and you should put a price out. If you're going to do an auction, it's the same thing, right? You should say what you have, you should say the grade, and you should let people decide what they're going to bid on. I always felt like whenever a seller's doing a mystery box, it's just a way for them to offload a bulk amount of like a collection that they bought that they don't really want to take the time to individually sell, right?
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that. At the same respect, right? Like for example, I picked up like a 15 short box collection last week. I think I moved about 5 or 6 short boxes last week on Whatnot, and I did lots, but they weren't mysteries. They were, like Action Comics, like sequential runs, average
Right.
grades. People are seeing what they're bidding on. I go, okay, these are worth about $5 to $10 each. Let's do $2 each on a book. We'll start it at that price, and you guys can decide what you want. But you're seeing what you're getting. I think there's a way to move inventory while people can see what they're going to get. If that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. I'm kind of with you on that. Like I personally never really been a fan of like mystery boxes because, I mean, me personally, it's like, I kind of just know what books I would like to collect. So, and
Exactly.
I just happen to, I like, I mostly like Silver Age and Bronze and more vintage stuff. I suppose if there was a mystery box that was like, hey, you're going to get all Silver Age Marvel, that might be kind of fun if I knew that I was going to get like some equity in it or something like that. But, for me, it's like, I want to be in control of my own purchases and collections. So even if you do hit big, like, oh, cool. I got like the grand prize book randomly. I'd still rather just know what I'm buying versus like, mystery boxes. But I'm not against anyone who does it if they like it, if they just kind of find joy in that makes sense to me. It's just like never been something I've been into.
I've bought 2. I bought one when I first started collecting comics again, before COVID hit, and I got it from Unsaid Business. And I'm not, I didn't find a single comic that I was ever familiar with in that first box. And I said, okay, never again. Because sometimes, I would at least consider it a good vehicle to introduce to certain characters, but they were like random ass in the middle of runs kinds of things, like looking at like, it was like continuation from like the last 3 comics. And now it's is this, and like a couple of random store variants. Right. And, I didn't know a lot about what I know about comics now. When I was just starting to get back into it again, I didn't realize all the things about modern variants were coming into play. I didn't realize that the whole shebang with a mystery box. I thought it would be a great way to kind of introduce to new storylines, but I won't lie, I felt pretty burned. The second one I did, Kentucky Keys, no mystery boxes, right? So he said, he shows you pictures of what's in every single freaking box. Now, which box you're going to get, that's the mystery. However, every single box you can see, is it going to be the first appearances of Ahsoka Tano, the first appearances of Darth Maul, the first appearances of the Rogue Squadron, the first appearances of so-and-so. And you've got all these comics in there, but every single box. Now, which one you get, I can't tell you. However, I felt like that to me, because I'm a Star Wars fan. So for me, I would have been happy with any of those boxes.
Right.
So for the price point that it was to buy in, I'll tell you right now, that would be the one man I would ever buy a mystery box, because he doesn't make it a mystery. You see, and that's what I liked about it, because it was transparent. I liked the transparency of that deal. I knew that the things I was getting out of there were of value to me personally as a collector, because they were all themed. It was 100% Star Wars, right? Like, this is the way boxes, I think he was calling them at this time. And this was like a year ago. But I got that first Ahsoka Tano, man. And I was just like, woo, I didn't know I was going to get it, but I got it, and it was a moment. Right. And that wasn't that technically, like, I don't think that was actually the one I was after. I can't remember at the time, because Ahsoka was getting hot, but she wasn't yet. Like, not everybody was like, oh, Ahsoka. I think it was, I can't remember who said it was. I think it was one of the early Star Wars sets I was really hoping to get my hands on, but I didn't. But I wasn't disappointed. Because I knew my odds going into that. He had like 12 boxes. and I was one of 12 buyers, and I had a 1 in 12 chance of getting the specific one I wanted, but I couldn't have gotten any of those boxes. How were those boxes selected? It was totally at random. They were all fixed and packaged identically, and he just grabbed one, slapped the address stickers on whoever's it was. It just happened to go out. That's the way it went. They were in identical mystery boxes. He did them, I think, starting like May the 4th. It was a Star Wars Day kind of thing. He stopped doing them because I think people just stopped kind of participating. But that was the one mystery box I was ever happy to participate in, but I've bought 2.
I think Gabriel's question is very important. How were they selected, and if there's any possibility of drama? And I think what he means by that is like fixing, right? Because we're seeing that, again, to harken back to the card world, there was this big, huge issue that happened where people started realizing that you could look on the unopened boxes from the manufacturer. They had a code on a sticker, and through those numbers on the code, you could figure out where the big hits were. And the box. Okay, this is if the case hit, if there's a case hit, it's going to be in a box with these numbers. These big hits are going to be in the box with these numbers. So once I found that out, I said to all my viewers and everybody out there, I wouldn't participate in any group breaks at all with Panini product, even if you respect and think that your group breaker is on the up and up. The guy that he could have got it from could have messed it up, or pulled the things. So that's very important to know how it's selected. And what I'm getting to is saying that, if you're just grabbing them and sending them out, how do we know that he didn't grab the ones that his friends wanted and sent it to his friends? Or if he says, oh, people can pick your own numbers, and he didn't tell his buddies, like, hey, pick this number. If you get up first, pick this number. So I think it's very important to, if you're going to do that type of stuff, one, you pick a randomizer on the internet, whether it's a wheel of names or random.org, you roll some dice, that type of thing. And then it's just totally random what numbered packs go to who. And then you open them on YouTube, right? Instead of sending them out. I feel like that also
like
helps.
Live or pre-recorded.
Yes.
Yeah, that would be good transparency too, because I can imagine the trap, like not only just that with like the friends, but like imagine like Swagglehaus did a Swaggle box, and then I saw, Bryan, you ordered one, and I knew that there was a chance that you were going to open it on a stream. Like, it's like it's human. Like all of a sudden I'd feel this pressure of like, well, wait, which one is Bryan going to get? Like, I got to make sure, so it's like, you might feel like you got to make sure certain ones are getting to certain people's hands depending on who ordered it. And so like, I think having that transparency.
Well, right. And I'm not saying, that Kentucky did this, but, like Phil, you got a pretty big account, so anybody that's doing one, they see that you buy one, they're like, man, this guy's going to shout me out.
Yeah. Not saying that he did that, but it's
better make sure I hook this man up.
Back then I was just nerd king with 412 followers on my personal account. This account didn't exist back then.
He could see into the future
when I started with him, but I get it. I get it. Yeah, I get it.
And that's been I'm glad we're talking about that, because there's been a rumor within raffles that's something that happens, that friends of the person that's doing the raffle wins and everybody else that entered it didn't, right? So it's a slippery slope when you don't do it the way Bryan said. You do it live, you be transparent, you use a randomizer.
And it's Bryan, you probably know a lot about that, where it's like, the box breaks on like specifically like the card world, which I guess this is like the closest you can get to comics, right? Where it's like the box breaks, like the dopamine hit, and if people are going to make YouTube videos about it or be on stream or whatever, it's like that's like a big like hype part of it, like that creates the energy.
You keyed in on that dopamine hit, right?
Yeah.
And I don't have a problem with mystery boxes and subscription boxes as long as it's on the up and up, right? You know who you're dealing with. There's transparency across the board. There's honesty. But the one of the things that a lot of people or organizations won't do mystery boxes for, i.e. TikTok just banned card breaks on TikTok for this reason. the gambling aspect, right? Because it hits that dopamine receptor for the gamblers out there that have the gambling issues. But opening cards will do that. Mystery boxes, raffles, all that stuff always will hit that dopamine receptor, and it can be a problem. But again, it shouldn't stop the people who are doing it right from continuing their thing. So it's a weird.
I don't think there's many people doing it right though, too. I see a few people that do it, but the people I see that majority wise are doing it are people that are having a hard time getting people into sales on a regular basis.
Well,
when I look on Instagram, I am more of an Instagrammer. I'm not a big whatnotter. I'm not a big eBayer. So I could be missing a lot of the places where these things take place. So I apologize. I don't want to sound rude because I know I've got friends that do these things too. I've got friends that do both. I've got friends that just posted both. And I love these guys, and I do. I seriously do. But I do not always see just them doing it. I see a lot of other much smaller accounts of people that used to be collectors. They're all of a sudden now salespersons. I believe that we have a hobby that can pay for itself, and it should, for the most part. It should try to pay for itself. When you have the opportunity to move something, to get something else you want more, that you love more, then you should do that. It's not a bad thing. You should move your comics to get the other ones you want. It shouldn't be something that's a constant drain on your personal family economy. That said, I feel like a lot of people have moved from even trying to just sell a book. And I see a lot of people sending me DMs on a regular basis for people that I barely know. I've got a raffle. Can you throw this in your stories? Hey, I'm going to do a mystery box. Can you throw this in your stories? I'm just like, hey, I don't even do this for my best friends.
Yeah.
So I apologize. I don't advertise anybody's raffles. I don't do anybody's mystery boxes.
Same. Never shared it.
And it's not personal. But I've had some of my best friends ask me, and I just tell them, like, dude, I'm sorry, I can't. Like, that's too much. Like, well, shut up, though. My wife can
Chad.
Sorry, bro. But
shout out to everybody in the chat, by the way. We appreciate it, guys. I see the comments. I am going to get to some of these questions. Just letting us all get over our little rants here, okay? I promise, guys.
It's a good point, Bob, because it's like you said. I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of people that do it well, but we all know like there's a potential for people to be disappointed. And if you're putting it out there, like you don't want to be the one that got someone to buy in and then they didn't get what they feel like, whatever they paid for was. So it's like, it's a hard thing to like stick your name out there for.
Right.
But I think with the mystery boxes too, it's like, it feels like there is a place for it where everyone can win. And it feels like the best version is like, kind of like you would when you're grading a comic book. Like, how it's like, it's always just better to kind of undergrade a little bit.
Always better to undergrade.
Just same thing with like mystery box, where it's like, if I know that this is whatever, $50 of value, like I better make sure that it's more like $60, $70 of value. You know what I mean? And then it's like, you send it out. I think that, and then those sellers that do it, hopefully they're winning because they legitimately are just able to move a lot more inventory than they would normally be able to do.
Phil brought up a really great point about how it's become the go-to for people that aren't able to move as much inventory, but it's also the go-to in the similar way, but not as bad, for people that don't have the time to move the inventory, right? Or get a big collection and are just work a 9 to 5 or this and that. Of course, everybody that's out there is watching knows that I'm going to bring up my buddy Ben Stein. Ben Stein does these great mystery packs. He does them, I don't know, once every couple of months. And basically the way that Stein works is Stein has a job where he goes around the country, on a regular basis. And whenever he's in a new town, he'll go hit up a shop and just go digging. And he'll go pick up those books where he goes digging and he'll sell those in mystery packs, right? But he'll do it where he shows you, okay, these are the books you can get in the mystery packs, show all the books. He'll say, here's the floor. here's the ceiling, here's the biggest books, and exactly like you guys are saying, sell them at a make sure that the floor that he's telling you is much higher than what it really is, type thing.
Yeah.
And he also knows that because he's buying books on the cheap that are worth a lot, because he's just, got a photographic freaking memory and he knows all these great books. He's picking them up for so cheap that he knows he can sell them for cheap and still,
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
absolutely.
Like he's still making his margin on that
But
stuff.
see, that sounds like to me like a pretty rare occasion right there.
It is.
That's generally not what most people do. And it sounds like he's not even doing a mystery box. It sounds like he's got, hey, look at this awesomeness. I'm distributing it in these boxes. If you're interested, come grab it, Yes. And I think one of the big issues with mystery boxes is grading is subjective, pricing is subjective. Where are people getting their pricing information from? How are they grading these books? Because that is going to affect the value that's in a box right there. Okay. So if people don't know how to grade and they're not checking accurately the data, I don't know, right? Are you updating the mystery boxes if it doesn't sell for a month? Because as we all know, these prices on comics are changing daily.
Mm-hmm.
So you need to be on top of that.
If you're going to sell mystery boxes, I think that you should also do it where you create 25 of them and you sell them all at once, right? You put it up on your IG and you wait till they all sell out, or you put them up on your YouTube and make sure they all sell out during that show or your whatnot show. They are all sold either that night, or you wait until they're sold within a short period of time, a couple days time. And because of what you're talking about, Theo, like where it doesn't,
especially nowadays,
it doesn't move.
Yeah. Especially if that's in, like, let's say there's a graded book in one of those mystery boxes, or it's like a high value, like, oh, this is a $500 mystery box, and it's like, well, not anymore.
Like, well, that book just went down 200% last week, so it's not anymore. So I hope that's being considered. With regards to raffles, there's one more thing I want to talk about before I go over some of these questions, because there's some good questions in the chat. One of my biggest things with raffles, and I know a lot of my friends who have literally won X-Men 1s, giant size X-Men's, and it cost them $500 for one spot. I saw the randomizer. It was completely legit. The only problem with that, though, while one person gets to get their grail, it comes at the expense of 14 other people being a loser. I don't like to say the word loser, but we're just calling it the way it is. There's a winner and then there's losers, right? So one person gets to win at the expense of all these other people losing. And you keep doing that, people are going to get burnt out, especially when you're dropping $1,500 for something and you don't win, right? Nobody's making these people do this, but it's the enticement of, look, here's an FF1. It's $500, 20 spots, mini. Let's go. We're filled up. Half these people are my best friends. Who cares? Whatever. Just come get the rest of the spots. It'll be all right,
Man, must be nice to have like a 500 extra bucks laying around just for a raffle.
That's exactly what I was
sorry, dude.
Yeah. I'm like, dude, if you got that much money, dude, you could literally take that money and just keep putting it to the side, and eventually you could just probably buy one of these books, man.
Totally. And again, I'm not here to tell anyone what they should or shouldn't do with their money, but mystery boxes, I can see it. I can get it. It's not for me, but I can get it. Raffles is the one that I'm just like, I don't get it.
No,
like,
I don't either.
I mean, like, yeah, cool. Like, you get that hit, but talk about like the gambling side of it. It truly is. And it's like, you get to that level where you get the AF-15 raffle, 10 spots, $2,000. And it's like, I don't know, like, I don't know if the people who are doing it, it's like 2Gs ain't a thing, or if the thought is, well, I'll never be able to afford a $20,000 AF-15, so maybe here I can get it. But now it feels like it's a lotto scratcher at this point, and I just don't know. I don't know if it's something I would ever recommend to a friend, personally.
It's why it's banned in multiple platforms, right? Like if you get,
you're not even allowed to do raffles on Instagram.
Yeah, you can't call it raffles. That's what everybody calls it, waffles and shit like that.
Razzles,
right?
Razzles. Like you're not even allowed to do that. It should just tell you alone. It's not welcome.
Let's call a spade too. We are in a highly addictive area.
Oh
right?
yeah.
We being in collectibles is a highly addictive thing to be in. And we're in auctions, nobody's going in to lose. We're in, we're watching things on eBay like a hawk. Why? Because we're gonna go and snipe it at the last second. It's just like, you got it, you won it. At the same time, there is a dopamine effect about winning, and honestly, and no offense, but that's the whole, like 90% of the reason why things like Whatnot and Instagram sales existed was also due to the fact I beat you. Ha. I mean, there is a lot of that. I know because I did it. Half the reason I would go into some of the Instagram auctions that I did it sometimes because I knew somebody was in there, was gonna be looking for a book, and be like, I hate that guy. Guess who won that book, mother? Right?
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm that guy. You could take a picture of it, cut me out. I'm the guy that you hated to go into an Instagram auction with, because if I wanted that, if not even if I didn't want that book, if you were a jerk to me at some point, I would purposely go into the auction and buy that book. I would wait for you. I would wait for you to bid on it, and I would bid. You wouldn't see me the whole show. All of a sudden, where the hell did Nerd King come from? Oh, he wants that book. Phil didn't want that book. Phil's sticking it to you because I'm just that guy. And that's, and at that same time, that happens. That is a part of the personality and the auction side of things. And we are in a very highly addictive environment. And
All
things
right,
like
you guys,
raffles already have
for
them in there.
whoever who makes the art for you guys, or if there's any artists out there, fan art, we need Bizarro Evil Phil.
You need
Evil Phil.
you need the Michael Caine.
Phil.
The Michael Caine,
we need a Bizarro Evil Phil,
burn.
and we needed like a really chill, happy Theo. That's what we need.
Everybody thought Theo was the chaos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just putting it out there, like 2 weeks straight. Everybody's just like, who the hell is this Phil guy now?
He's been the bad cop lately.
The name makes so much more sense every stream.
Every stream, you just don't know where the heck Phil is. Theo's the comics guy. I'm just the one, you don't know where it's going to be. It's going to be something different every time. No, but I mean, honestly, it's just a very, it's collecting is something we're all after, that one special thing, right? It's like Pokemon. It's got to catch one. It's got to catch them all. And you're after what you're after, so you still get that dopamine like effect. But I think we're also playing with a lot of people that have very addictive personalities in this hobby, and maybe we're just not as addictive as some of the other ones to say like, oh yeah, raffles, that just makes sense. I don't know, man. I've seen some people on raffles, and I'm just saying to myself like, wow, I don't know how you do it. Like, even if honestly, if it weren't like for charity, I don't know if I would ever give like $20 to a raffle. And that's the only ones I've ever participated in is like charity raffles.
Right,
That's it.
The cost to enter is a key, right? And I think that's very important, because there are groups and people out there that do the razzes or the waffles or the raffles pretty decently. And what I mean by that is this: there's a cap on how much pricing a book that you can throw up, or a prize you can throw up, right? Say $100. That way it isn't people losing $2,000 a pop. They're losing $5 a pop. They're losing $10 a pop, right? I think that's very important, because once you start throwing those big books up there, or those big amounts to enter, and you're losing $100 a pop or $500, $1,000 a pop, that can get very, very dangerous. Not just for the person that's losing, for their family, for their kids, right? It could send in people, whole groups into spiraling. So as long as there's a cap on there, that's the first thing I want to know. Like, is there rules to these raffles within these
responsibility?
Yes. Yeah.
Right.
So you always have to kind of be a little weary, no matter what you're doing in life anymore, whether it's buying mystery boxes or driving a car, right? That's just the way it is. You can't think that everything is just, roses out there. You have to realize what situation you're walking into.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Let's not kid ourselves too. The more people that get burnt on these types of things, potentially that's the less people that are going to be in this hobby. Some people might be brand new to this hobby, and instead of bumping into Swag or Bryan or myself for the first time, they bump into a raffle page and they go, oh, this must be how it's done. So let me go ahead and do it. This is the only way I'm going to get a GSX. Sure. Here's 500. Shit, I lost.
Yeah.
I'm going to go back
But
to
I
New
wonder,
Comic Book Day. I'm out of here. Like, see ya.
Yeah.
You know, it's just
I
gone.
wonder though if sellers that actually do these more, and I apologize, didn't mean to interrupt, but I wonder if sellers that do these more, do they lose regular buyers because of raffles? And does maybe their account become less messed with? Because honestly, if I were to participate in a raffle for a comic, and God knows if I did it twice, and I'd lose. I always lose. But you know, if I did, I'm sure I would lose. But if I lost twice, and Theo, like say for example, if I had been buying from you and you were doing raffles and I lost with you twice, I probably wouldn't buy a comic from you anymore. No offense, just because I wouldn't want to look at the page to be tempted by the raffles to keep participating. Because I would just be like, lost twice. I'm not doing these anymore, cutting myself off. And I would just probably look for people that are just selling their books. So I'm wondering also if people that do these are also kind of cutting their own throats for exposure, following, more people to participate.
I mean, to be
Because
quite honest, you know, I'm not going to name particular accounts, but generally the raffle pages that I see don't generally grow. Not only do they not grow, I think everybody that considers doing it or is doing it needs to think about the long term, like the longevity of how their business is going to be done.
Yep.
Is it better to do this and to take the easy route to offload a collection, or to be transparent and maybe do like bulk deals on similar titles and eras and etc.
That's an
right?
easy answer, man. That's an easy answer. And it should be for everybody out there.
It should be.
Transparency always trumps everything, in my opinion,
Totally.
right?
Yeah.
So if you're not transparent, I'm not gonna. My trust is, you know, I'm instantly thinking that you're not on the up and up.
Yeah.
There is a question in the chat though. Shout out to Coach Disney, Robert Rojo, great dude. He sells on Whatnot. He says he's thinking of doing a mystery pack on Whatnot, but will end up being front. But I will be up front and say 2 trades and 1 virgin each. I will also say it's a Spider-Man or X-Men pack. What do you guys think? Anybody want to shoot that one first?
I mean, Spider-Man and X-Men is pretty freaking huge. I mean, as far as like broad comics,
right? I
mean,
yeah, you know, you got silver, bronze,
thousands of
modern, and then
books.
some. So,
well, Rage,
so,
I mean,
that's,
I feel like
that's kind of like
you don't do
saying here's
mystery
a
boxes.
Marvel and a DC. It's pretty huge. I don't know, just
so
myself.
I'll give my honest opinion on this.
Yeah, how would you do it?
Robert, I'll tell you right now, man. I think you just need to be upfront, have a price for a book that you want to sell it, have a comfortable starting bid, and go from there, or put it in the buy it now, and entice people. Say, hey, normally these books are worth $5-10 each. I'm putting them up for $3 each. Here's 10 X-Men books for $30, right?
I got a great piece of advice for people that are thinking about doing it this way, or thinking about putting exclusive variants in their mystery boxes. Don't do it. I would never put exclusive variants in a mystery box. It would be, if I was doing mystery boxes, it would be keys, ratio variants, you know, that have been popular for years. I would never put anything.
Throw some slabs in there.
Yeah, throw some slabs in there. Never any exclusive variants, because unfortunately the exclusive variant game has become a game of losing value, right? And I'm not taking shots at anybody. It's just the truth. Most exclusives, you'll see somebody selling them 1 week, 3 weeks later, selling them 1 week for $30 for a set. 3 weeks later, they're selling the same set for $5 a piece. And the values just take such a dive so quickly. So if you're going to do mystery boxes, my piece of advice is to stay away from exclusive variants.
Yeah. And it seems like I would say, I mean, just from my end, feels like if you're going to do a mystery pack like this, you would definitely want to buy it now, right? Because you should be able to say, hey, you're going to get more than this value, as opposed to like a starting bid. Because then it's truly Wild West.
And I also think there might be an exception to the variants and exclusives, and that's if they're your own.
If you're putting one in every one for free, like, or just, you know, that, hey, everybody's going to get one of these, I'm a little bit cooler with that, as long as you're not saying that that's part of the value, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Unless
So
it's something that's absolutely nuts. I mean, let's be honest. There are some exclusives and variants that
There's a
just
few. Yeah.
hold
I
and they
did,
keep going up like a crazy horse, you know?
Yeah.
and I can say too, being at conventions, I do see sometimes shops that are there have mystery boxes stacked on top of them, right? And they
Yeah,
show like,
yeah.
here's one, here's one, here's one. You can buy them for $30, and it is all their exclusives, right? And you get to open them all up there in front of every single other person as soon as you walk, because they want to know, because if it's got like a sticker inside or whatever it may be, then you win that slab on the wall or whatever. And because I've been there either in a working capacity or a spectating capacity. I've seen people win. I've seen lots of people win. And I've seen lots of people, but this is where I think it's better when it comes from a shop. And I'll say that because the shop's selling it at the exact same price that it would have been sold the first day that it went on, whatever it is. And they're not looking at its aftermarket value. What's it selling for on whatnot? What's it selling for on eBay? A lot of shops sell their books for $20, $30, whatever it may be, or a trade in a virgin for 50, whatever it may, that situation may dictate.
Yeah.
But those all stack in the value of their mystery boxes, right? Not necessarily like, well, it was worth this 2 weeks ago on eBay or anything like that. It's just like, this is what our retail is. And we put 10 books in every single one, and we're going to sell it for $30, but it's got 10 books in it. And we're selling them for technically like way less than we would any of our other books. So the store ones I've seen people do tremendously well with, but that's only live at conventions. And I've never seen these shops ever sell them on their site, but I've seen them at conventions. And I think that that's kind of cool when I see those, because I'm seeing live people open it right there. It's just like, which one do you want? And they just look through and like, I want the one right down there. Okay, well, they pull that one out. That's the one you get. What do you got? Before you leave, you got to open it, because we got to know, in case you won, I'm not shipping this to you. Like, did you win? And that's cool. I think that to me, that was a cool experience, because the person's actually picking the box that they want for themselves there live, opening it in front of God and everyone, and then possibly having that giveaway on it. So that would be those convention things. I think that's kind of, I'm okay with that personally.
Yeah. I think that's a good point right there from Legion of Paper. If you're given a good mystery box, you will lose money on the boxes.
Well, hold on.
Well,
are you losing money or because you could have bought those at super cheap, right? You're probably leaving money on the table, but not losing.
Leaving money on the table.
Leaving money on the table is definitely the way to say it. But that's the thing that goes back to, like, you want to sell it right to where, it's nice to give your customers a little bit of equity, because then they get a little something, and it's like you win. You're still making your margins, and then they get to win because
you get a returning customer. I mean, that's what makes for a long-term business,
Yeah.
So, and there you go. Yeah. Shout out to Gotham Comics. I can vouch for this too. When I first got back into the community, I bought one of those no mystery boxes from Gotham Comics, and full of fire. I already knew what was in there. It was like really wasn't a mystery. It was just buying a box from them. But
yeah. But last little point.
Shout out to Ben Stein there. There's a couple of people shouting him out for that.
I was going to say, Bryan, what you were saying with the whatnot exclusives in the mystery box, it's almost like an optics thing too, right? Where it does feel like if all of a sudden a bunch of your boxes have like some exclusives in there or whatever, it feels like, oh, you're just trying to get rid of these things. So even if they're still technically like the right value, the optic part of it maybe feels, I don't know, it leaves some room for people to be kind of disappointed or feel like you're devaluing, because it's like it's just a throw in at that point.
Yeah, for sure.
There you go. Shout out Janie. I stopped getting mystery boxes because they said there was something good, but it turned out to just be trash.
Yeah, I think that somebody brought it up earlier that it seems like a lot of them is just people trying to get rid of junk dreck, right? Low grade stuff that's been sitting in dollar bins in their shop for years, that type of thing. And if you're gonna do that, just be honest. Just say, hey, you know, we're going to send you a short box. We're going to grab stacks from every short box and we're going to send it to you. And you're paying a quarter a book, you know?
Yeah.
Again, transparency is always the key.
There we go. Legion of Paper. The seller needs to lose money on mystery boxes in order for the buyer to feel like it was a good deal. Leave money on the table is what we're saying.
Yes.
Leave money on the table. Okay.
Just equity. They need to feel the equity.
Yeah. And guys, if anybody has any more questions, comments, concerns on mystery boxes and raffles, this is why we're here right now. Don't be shy.
Yeah, and for the seller, for what Legion of Paper is saying, that for the seller, you're not losing money again if you're paying, if you're buying it cheap and selling it, and so you're buying a book for $2. You go on eBay, you see what the last couple months of selling prices have been, and the selling prices have been $40. You put it out there and you say it's that you're going to value it at $20. You're making 18. Yeah, you're not making 38 or whatever, but you're making 18. And what Theo said earlier, you could have a returning customer. Also, look at everybody talking about the people that they've bought stuff in here for. People saying, hey, I bought from this and I really love it. And so people are seeing this and going, well, then I'm going to go check out what they got. So you got word of mouth, a returning customer, happy customers. It's a win-win situation. You're selling the books faster. So as long as you're not taking advantage of somebody and you're transparent, I'm good.
You're absolutely right. I think that's the trick. Like you said, leaving money on the table. And I think in some businesses, and especially, and I go back again to like, shops that actually are, like shops, like people that have been in the game for a while, not, and again, no offense, but not a seller on Instagram, a seller on like person that's had a shop established in these games for a period of time. I know a lot of them never sell above their price. It doesn't matter if somebody's walking away from their place as soon as they've got it in their hand and they're going on Whatnot, or they're going on Instagram and saying, I'm selling this for $200 right now. He's fine. That shop owner's totally fine because their books are selling. And that was their business model. Their business model was to sell for $30, not 300, not 3,000, $30. And it's those places that I have a lot of respect for, because those are the people also that get a lot of business back. They get tons of business back because people are always happy with what they get.
Nice, nice, Chad. I didn't see nothing. So Legion, ever tried to return a mystery box due to value dispute?
Ooh,
mine didn't go well.
That's a great question.
I've never seen anybody try and do that. Has somebody like Legion? Have you tried that?
That's a fantastic question.
Holy shit!
Mind blown.
I would honestly not want to tell anybody I haven't participated in a mystery box, to be totally honest, let alone got screwed on one.
Yeah.
So
do you guys feel like when, as far as you guys understand mystery boxes, is it like, hey, this is a $50 mystery box and it's $50 of value or whatever it is? Like, is that always the guarantee? When people sell these things, have you guys heard of?
That's what I've always thought them to be. I mean, I've never seen somebody. Well, I've seen a few. Okay, yeah, I've seen a few that are just like, this is $100 mystery box. I'm selling them for 50 or 80 or 75,
right?
Whatever kind of thing. You're definitely gonna get books valued at around $100 or more because you might win the big grand prize kind of thing. I guess I've seen a few of those.
That's a great point right there, by Robert. I think the bigger question here is it retail prices or FMV?
I think it should be FMV, right? Fair market value.
I think it should always be FMV.
Yeah.
But
yeah. I mean, I think that's the problem. And I think then it goes into like kind of what we were saying before. It's like, well, when did they price it and how did they price it? And, what do they determine as FMV? Is because some people
use Go Collect, they use GPA, or they use some people might just
look at some values on
cover price.
It says this. Some people actually look at the recent eBay sales. It's hard to have an alignment.
And let's be honest too, eBay sales are kind of shitty to use to price, because there's some people out there just like, I'm selling this for $2,000, and you look at it, you're like, really? That's for $2,000? That's for $2,000?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I don't know. I think pricing on eBay is a slippery slope too, just because some people out there just have ridiculous ideas of what their books should be valued
Oh,
at.
so Legion said he did, it worked, and he was very persuasive. Nice. So
I've
guys,
seen
if you get
Legion's
something
account.
and
He
you're
could be
not
very
happy,
persuasive when he needs to.
say something, okay? Say something.
I mean, I'm willing to extend an olive branch to like the people who do the mystery boxes. Is like you could have like 100 boxes and 99 were fire, and like one kind of was whack because it's a lot of books you're putting in. You know, everyone makes mistakes, and so maybe, you know, as long as I think if you can make it right and the customer has a case that it didn't meet expectations, I think if you can make it right, that's you know, kudos to them.
And shout out to GT Key. Oh, sorry, go ahead, man.
Real quick, also, the one somebody said earlier that one of the mystery boxes that I think it was you, Phil, said that they said what was in every mystery box, right? They put it up
Kentucky
there,
Keys.
and then that way you can see that no matter what, this is what you're gonna get. You're gonna get one of these boxes, right?
You're right.
I think that's key, and then I also think that there's ways to spice it up, right? You could say, okay, at the end of you know, say if you put them on IG, you have 25 boxes, you sell them, you have people who jump in on each spot, and then you go on YouTube the next day and open them all up on YouTube, you know, do the random thing, open them all up, and at the end you go, okay, here's an extra for everybody, and you pull out some cool key slab and you spin a wheel for everybody that's in there, right? Do things like that. Or throwing little extras like, hey, if you didn't like what you got, you can trade with a pile of stuff over here that is available, you know, if you want it, that type of thing, you know, like give people
or even offer the other person's, like, you know, their you know, like put them all in a group chat and like, hey, if you didn't like your box, feel free to ask if one of the other people in this room would like to trade their box for your box, you know, or whatever it may be. Like maybe somebody else got the box.
That sounds like a headache, though. Okay, how do you?
It does.
People are gonna take out some
but
books.
that's why I wouldn't do a mystery box.
Who's paying
man,
for the
it just
shipping?
seems like it's,
as a seller, I'm like, who's paying for the shipping now? Like, we're gonna do some slots. Like, what's going on here?
As a seller, man, I think I think a mystery box and raffles are bigger headaches for the sellers. I mean, yeah, somebody's got to win, somebody's got to lose. But when it comes to navigating the shitstorm afterwards, because I mean, like you said, like if you got 10 people participating, that means there's 9 losers. And we all know bad news travels hella faster than good.
Yeah.
And anybody that feels like they got screwed is going to tell 100 people, versus the one person that won might post it, probably just going to say thank you to the person they won it from. But, you know, it's just like, it's, I don't know. It's just like a bad review in a business, right? You know, what do you see mostly on the page? The people that had a bad day. It's the good ones you don't see a lot of. And in my mind, this perpetuates. And I think that that's what Theo was getting back to earlier. A lot of the people you see doing raffles over and over again, a lot of people you see doing mystery boxes over and over again are at that stagnant level. And maybe it's not the algorithm that's the problem. Maybe it's the product type you're pushing that's keeping you in that space. I don't know. Food for thought.
GT Key, bring up that question again, Theo, because that was a great point about Bueller.
Let's see. Okay.
It was a little bit.
So GT Key comic. I like the Bueller video where he ranked and rated mystery boxes. He actually researched every book on eBay.
Yeah.
So that's fantastic. The only problem I have with that is, what was the time frame between the time he got the box to the time he did the video? Because like we discussed earlier, these prices are constantly doing.
And also, what Phil or what somebody said earlier about, did he buy them randomly where people knew they weren't sending them to Bueller?
Yeah, sending them to. Do they know they were sending them to Bueller?
Right.
That's
ding,
what
ding,
I mean.
Mm-hmm.
Did they know it was to Bueller? Because if I was doing a mystery box and I had somebody, I had one of you guys with thousands of followers and stuff like that, or myself on Instagram,
like, oh, you know,
I was
I'm gonna blast you or shout you out.
And I just like, man, I can't wait to get your box. I'm gonna open it live on Instagram. I'm pretty sure they would look favorably at me versus so and so with 500 followers saying like, yeah, I'm going to open it on Instagram. Like, well, what would it mean more for marketing?
Yeah, at that point,
me as my
I'd be ready
business?
to put my X-Men 1 in your $50 mystery box just to make sure, like,
just like you'd be like, look what I got from
like look at the value.
And then every single person's gonna be on my page going like, they only did it because of your got followers, Phil, and be like, then I'd be disappointed. And then I'd be hosed with it too. I mean, honestly, it doesn't seem like a winning
Your
business
reputation is
model.
everything, man.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
everything. And people don't realize how important that is, especially nowadays with social media and everything is on the internet. And if you're going to be in the internet content creation, game, if you're out on the internet, i.e. any one of us on this show right now, a lot of people I see in the chat that have, that sell on, if you're going to put your face in front of a camera or out there for everybody to see, your reputation is everything. And at that point, it's just so much smarter just to be honest. That way you don't get yourself caught up in some lie that you have to lie again for. It's very, very important.
Yeah.
It's
already nerve-wracking enough
from now on.
To sell it like
one of those YouTubers always wearing a mask like this and shit.
Yeah, that's how you should have started.
This is what people tell me in general all the time. It's that face for radio. I need a mask.
You also need the voice modifier.
The voice
modulator. There you go.
go.
Shout out to Mom and Sons. The hardest part about mystery boxes is people getting something they don't want. And that's exactly, no one will be 100% happy, even if they get a book with high value, but they don't like DC.
Yeah.
Well, I think DC that's until these recent announcements, man.
Now, that's the part too where it's like, that's why I think as long as if you're doing a $50 mystery box and it's really like $75, maybe $80 of value. That's one of those where it's like, I feel like it makes sense if why people are buying it, because they can say, return those books to eBay in the market and make their mystery box money back, and I think that's where everyone can kind of win. So it's like, oh, I didn't get anything I want to keep this time. At least I know I can sell one of the books that pays for the price of admission, but not everyone sells either. So that's the other problem.
This is pretty interesting. Shout out Robert. Look, he saw this at Disneyland with mystery pin packs. If you didn't like one of your pins, they had a trade board. Thought about a comic book trade board.
That's cool.
Okay.
Yeah, that's smart. It's always better
unless they get shipped to you first.
Yeah. Yeah. It's always smart to throw in those extra little cool things, give people some type of option if they don't like what they have. Right? Whether it's like hey, if you don't like what you have, I have, a myriad of different types of collectibles. I have, unopened sports card boxes over here if you want to trade for an open sports card box, or if I have a bunch of Funko Pops over here if you want to trade, for these Funko Pops over here, that type of thing. And that way you're still not getting rid of, you're still getting rid of your inventory that you want to get rid of, right? You're still putting that available to people, and you give people options.
Right.
I agree.
So GT Comics says some of the mystery box sellers, not all of them, but some sellers play a zero-sum game when they sell mystery boxes. They know some buyers will lose big.
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
And again, shout out to Gabriel. Is there any benefit to a seller other than to move product?
Yeah. Gain followers, word of mouth. It's a move product is always like the number one thing, right? But gaining followers to move more product down the road, right? You're gaining followers. Your reputation. Look how many people in here are talking about people that they've bought before. Word of mouth, like that's very
good
important.
and bad. Yeah. There you go. Shout
but
out to
I'll be honest though, I've seen more bad than good.
Yes, you're 100%.
I'm not. I'm not going to lie. There's a reason why you shout out the good ones, because they're rare. They are rare.
I forget who I was talking to the other day that was talking about mystery boxes to me, and they mentioned, it comes from that. I don't know if it's exactly 1-to-1, but it comes from, there used to be like at your LCS, there would be like the grab bags, and it was like
mystery bag.
mystery bag, grab bag thing. And I think the idea with that was that, yeah, it was bulk, but again, it was a transparency thing where it's like, hey, you're just going to get a bunch of these types of comics and it's $5 and, you're going to walk away and just have a lot of material to read. And I think that's kind of gotten away with the sort of the online versions of it.
No, you're not wrong at all.
I was waiting for somebody to mention this too. I've heard a lot of good things about Comic Tom. Shout out to Comic Tom. Mikey Comic says, on Tom's mystery box, I just sold the exclusive as soon as I got it, and that paid for the month.
Yeah.
And I've heard that a lot, that there's 1 or 2 books in there that literally pays for the entire box.
I've
and what can you say when that happens? When one book covers the whole box? I mean,
and I know too that, some people that are major creators, and I do consider Tom to be a major creator, do this so that way they're not doing a Patreon. They're not doing they're not having to ask people to help them support their show, their business in other ways, shapes, or forms. So they do these kinds of like subscription boxes. I know it's called Mystery Mail Call, but you see a lot of the things that are like, everybody gets this book, everybody's getting these prints, everybody's getting, the things. I consider that more of a subscription box than I consider that a mystery pack. And I know he calls it the Mystery Mail Call because he's sliding in one cool book in.
Well, it's a mystery because nobody knows who's going to win like the big book.
Who's going to win the big book? But everything else you're getting. So to me, at the end of the day, that's still a subscription box. So I consider what Tom's doing different. I'm not going to lie. I don't consider Tom's a mystery box because I've gotten those before. And that's why I can say it's not a mystery box to me, because I knew what I was getting. I ordered specific for that month, right? Like I want that one because that's a kick-ass book and I know I'm going to get it. I'm going to get some other cool stuff too, but I'm getting what I want. And to me, that's not a mystery. That's a subscription. That's maybe just my generalization definition.
Right. Shout out to Mr. Bombastic at the panel. We all have vehicles, one could assume. So would you chance buying a mystery car?
No.
No, I wouldn't. But I think we started our conversation tonight with none of us actually are mystery box buyers.
No. And these are comics. These aren't cars. These aren't houses.
Yeah, these are cars or houses. Yeah. Some of them are. We were talking about the raffles. I mean, some of these are F-15s, FF1s.
Some of these are mortgages. Yeah.
Some of these are a big deal. Yeah.
But they do that also. Don't they do like in your areas or your cities? They'll have like these health and wealth raffles where some of the big prizes are cars, houses.
Those are for charity though, so I consider that something towards the charity. I mean, I work at a hospital, so we do these things often, right, for foundations. There are foundations to help take care of kids in hospitals, or get something for somebody needs a kidney transplant, things like that. And I've been blessed by this community with charity and raffles helping me with my daughter over this last year. And I've seen a lot of people come through and do things that I never imagined anybody would do for me. It took a long time to get past my ego to mention that. And like Theo can tell you, like coaching, like, people want to help. Eventually you need to shut and let the world, when they care, be there for you as a member of the community and for your family. Because otherwise, you might not be here again in a year.
That's what community is about, man. That's what
it is. But for charity things, I will with every single, and I will support in any way I can. But when it's just because somebody's rent's due, and I've seen guys like, and I'm going to include these Pokemon, and I put in a Game Boy card, and I put in a Funko Pop, and I put it in, and basically this guy's just like trying to hawk a drawer of random crap like you would see on Facebook Marketplace of like, box of we don't know, and ask $100 for it. To me, that's where these things start to kind of go wrong, because somebody considers their garage sale assets a raffle, a mystery box. So I consider, if it's a charity raffle, I think you're in for trying to help, and maybe you're gonna get something cool out of it. But if
Well,
I
yeah,
don't,
that's
I still feel good about where that money went. I don't feel
yeah.
bad about losing.
Well, that's like to Mikey's question too, where it's like it's the transparency and the framing of it, right? Where it's like ultimately this is a charity donation, and it's like, hey, it's kind of a bonus that I got to get something for it.
Yeah.
It's just a way to kind of rally around it. Hey, here's like a art piece we're going to auction, but really everyone is just with the mindset we want to just donate. And it's the same, I think, with the mystery box and the comic books. If that was the case, like it's like, hey, it's a mystery box, but it's actually going to go for this foundation or whatever. It's like, I don't think anyone would care if it wasn't the value or whatever. But I think the framing value for our conversation is usually the promise is that you're going to get like this extra equity, when you buy it. So it's like that frame that people get disappointed when they don't feel that they got what they were signing up for.
I would agree with that.
And then also maybe just don't do one. Maybe do what Gabriel's saying. He's not a seller. He takes lots of books he can't store anymore due to space. He donates them to Navy ship libraries. Stores could donate there or to prisons and write off on their taxes. So maybe at the end of the day, maybe just don't do a charity mystery box.
Yeah.
Because if you truly are donating all the funds, why don't you just give it away anyways? Wouldn't that be easier than shipping it all to people and providing proof that you did it the right way and donating? I mean, why don't you just do that right there? It seems a lot easier to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. We got to get the little kids hooked in comics, so we got to give them those dollar books.
Yeah.
I've got a children's hospital, man. I'm not gonna lie. I've taken like tons of stuffed animals, tons of comics, tons of things there, because there's those kids need things to do when they're stuck in there all day on chemo, man. They can read a number of books. They can look through a bunch of different things. And sometimes they're great prizes too. Kids got to give blood, got to have their blood drawn every single time they come in, every time the port gets accessed, all those different things. Never disregard your local hospital, and they all have an area that treats kids specifically in pediatric areas. Even if they have a children's hospital or they don't, they all have a treatment area for those places. So keep those things in mind. Old board games or even new board games. Good things. I know a lot of the things that came to Gwen. We were very lucky when Gwen was much younger, and she loved stuffed animals. And man, we had a room full of stuffed animals. And eventually it was kind of one of those things where it's like, all right, we're going to start taking these. We're going to donate them to Aaron's house and to all these other places and group homes for kids, things of that nature, to have these things. Always keep that in mind too. Stuffed animals, comics, whatever it may be. We're lucky and blessed in collectibles. Share that when you get the chance.
And Janny, and I appreciate that. I love that you'll always be there for charity, no matter if the comics are not good. My whole thing is, how about just donating to the charity directly and the other person doing the same thing?
Yeah.
It's a question of when you can. It's a question of sometimes though, Theo. Like, what can a community do versus just you? Because sometimes when I know I've got a $500 donation of comics here, right? Say I've got a $500 donation for comics for this children's hospital, but if I take that $500 donation of comics and I put them into a series of raffles for $10 each, and I get 500 people to participate, that's $5,000 for that children's hospital as opposed to $500. And there's certain things to me in my mind when it comes to charity. Yes, you're absolutely right. I give things there each time too. But if you are in the situation where you have an active community that's interested in finding something to participate in, I think that's something to explore. That's at least something you should explore. Maybe talk to your followers about it. Like, I'm thinking about doing this. Would people be interested? If it's for a charity, it's not a 50-50 thing or something like that. Always think about that.
Yeah, I think back to what you said, 50-50, right? I think it's one thing if you're doing 100%.
Yeah.
I think it's another thing when you're using it to also sell and make money.
Yeah, I've seen a lot.
So if you're saying I'm donating 50% of what I make to charity, so now you're using that as a ploy to sell.
Yes.
You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Instead of just donating it all to charity, you might as well just do that. Don't use a charity to help push a book.
Also, if it doesn't smell right, to
it probably doesn't smell right.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly. If
Yeah.
you stick with your gut, man.
Yeah.
We see that all the time in every aspect of life, and people get taken advantage of. Also, ask people, ask people. This community is a big community, and for the most part, it's made up of good people. And so ask around, ask people, go to shows like Comics and Chaos and say, hey, I heard about this. What do you guys think about this? Is this guy on the up and up? Do those things. People, utilize your tribe, utilize your community. That's very important. So
I always think about how long have they been on social media? How long of a history do they have on social media and doing things and selling? And are they leaving those things up? Are they
yeah,
disappearing immediately? Theo's one of the one that told me that like immediately, Phil. Like when I first met Theo, like, I remember one of the things I asked a lot of other sellers, like, how do you know who to work with seller wise? And one of the first things Theo told me was just like, Phil, if you look at a seller's page and they delete their sales after the show, I wouldn't trust them because there's nothing to go back and check who got what was the condition of the book,
What are you
what
hiding?
did you say it was, what did you say it was. That was the first thing Theo taught me about looking for other people to buy comics from.
Well,
That
no,
was
no,
his
no. Two things. Don't
101.
forget. One, do you leave your receipts up? And two, do you have references?
Oh, references. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Do you have references? If you
that's
have no
newer.
references
I
on your
remember one.
page, in the highlight reel, like how people shout you out and you go out of your way to save
Yeah.
that and reshare it, as most people on Instagram should. If you're not, shame on you. But yeah, if you have references and live sales as a customer or as a consumer, I should be able to go to your page and see that immediately.
Yeah.
I shouldn't have to dig around and see, okay, is this person good? Who messes with this person? All that jazz.
Yep.
Right.
Repeat buyers. Man, guys.
Yeah, guys, real quick. Everyone needs to
Smash
this video. Come on, guys. By the way, we passed 500 subs. We're almost at 700 now. Come on, guys.
Get them there.
We would appreciate the subs. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Please. We're doing good. We bring out the big guns like Bryan and Swagglehaus. Okay, we're not messing around. We didn't bring in our mom and our friends, right? Just because they're the only two that watch regularly. But
I'm betting by, I'll say within the next month, you guys will 100. I guarantee within the next month, you guys will be over 1,000. There's no way.
Have to be.
Yeah.
We got to get you guys there. 1,
Much respect, guys. I appreciate that.
We're trying. We will cross our fingers. But we're not holding the world to it. We're going to be here regardless. So, get used to us. That's the worst part, right? It's just like, geez, just buckle up. If you hate us now, you're going to hate us later.
Creation is just like the topic we're talking about, right? It's do you respect the people that you're watching? Are they honest? Is the content good? Are they consistent? And I think for the most part, the people that we all jump on shows and we collaborate with, that's the reason we do it, right? Mm-hmm. And I also think that another important thing is for everybody out there that does create content, do more of this, do more collaboration, right? Reach out to Comics and Chaos and have them on your show and ask to be on their show, because it's going to help everybody. So again, use your community. Yep.
I wanted to ask you guys one thing we were talking about when we were talking about the raffle stuff. Like, we kind of know like what the, decided to do mystery boxes. A lot of times in a negative interpretation is like, oh, okay, a seller who just kind of wants to get rid of their bulk inventory. What do you think the motivation for the raffles is for people that want to do it? Do you think that it's just like, this is the faster way I can sell a big key that have people have budget for? Or what do you think?
I think you're right. No, I'm sorry. I think it's
because
that price point is so high sometimes of that book. It's just, like it's if I've got one buyer that might come in my shop with maybe $10,000 to buy that book, versus having 100 buyers with $100 in their pocket for the opportunity to buy that book. I'm probably going to get my 100 people to show up versus hoping that one $10,000 guy comes in. So
Right.
for me, I think of it as it's usually because the price of the book is just too high right now for the people and the price points that's in my buying group. That to me is the motivation that at least I would have. That would be my
Right.
motivation.
What do you think, Rage? You feel like you were gonna?
So for me, I'm going to tell you what I think, and I'm going to tell you what I've heard. I think it's a way for people to try to move a big book on a platform like Facebook or Instagram to avoid fees and taxes.
Mm.
Right? I think that's one of the biggest things, because maybe they don't have the outlet to just post it. Maybe, shout out to Elite Comics 11. That's who I co-host. Maybe they don't want to go through a page like that and pay 6 or 7%.
An eBay fee.
Or an eBay fee, things like that. But from what I've heard, I haven't seen this directly because, I'm 3 years in this community, so I'm still kind of a rookie. From what I've heard, though, it's a way for a raffler. I'm not saying everybody does this, but it's a way for a raffler to get a bunch of money from people so they can claim a friend won it, and so they can relist the same book on a different raffle or the same raffle 6 months to a year later, right? So you got to know who you're dealing with here.
Some shenanigans behind the scenes type of stuff.
I've heard of a lot of shenanigans with regards to raffles.
Yeah, I've never heard of that.
I mean, it's hard. Yeah, I mean, we kind of already, talked a little bit about it, but
how do you know? You got to check the CGC barcode. I mean, you got to really be in on that one. You got to really focus on that.
Yeah. It's hard to not pull your friends or to prove that someone isn't pulling their friends in that raffle too.
Exactly. And then, they get all their friends' money. Maybe they get 2 strangers money and they refund all their friends, and then they take in that. And then, okay, 6 months, we'll redo this one. But in the meantime, here, let's put up this 129 now because we just swindled 3 people on an AF-15.
Yeah, that's a good point too, actually. I never thought about that, where it's like, yeah, maybe a couple of those people that are buying up 10 slots, are actually getting their money back behind the scenes.
I almost want to say I trust mystery boxes more than I trust raffles.
Yeah, I think so. I almost feel like that too.
Yeah. Like if I had to pick one to put money towards.
Yeah.
Well, shit, at least I know I'm getting something with the mystery box. Instead of just gambling my money and
I've only ever done charity raffles. I've never ever purchased anybody's raffles just because I felt like, well, number one, I've never won a lottery or anything like that before, so I just feel like my luck, the only luck I have is bad luck. So it wouldn't equate well for a raffle, but I've bought mystery boxes and never done raffles, so I can say I'm the same way.
Yeah, and there you go. Shout out to Mikey Comics. He says it's usually the guys who don't have the ability to move the book at full value.
Yeah. Right. And actually, they could probably get it at a higher FMV. Let's say it's like it's a $10,000 book that now sells for $8, but you can get, 10 people to put in, $1,000 and then sell it at that higher FMV.
Like mini raffles too. Like we were talking before about somebody putting in $500 for a raffle. They do these mini raffles too. Like, hey, $10 spots for one of these $500, buy-in points too. I mean, I've seen raffles for raffle spots.
Yeah,
that's what drives me probably the most nuts. That's what drives me the most nuts. Right? That's wild, right? You're in a raffle to get in the raffle. That's like the most meta you can get.
Increase your chances even more to, win.
Just sorry. Drives me nuts.
I agree with you. It is weird.
Wow. Well, guys, it's maybe see if we get any of the last sets of questions in, but it's been a great solid hour. We're coming up on an hour and a half, and I really want to be respectful to our guests' time here this evening. Bryan and Swag were kind enough to join us. I don't want to eat up their entire evening. So let's get any last good questions out there. You're on the clock.
Any last good questions, let us know. Yep.
I think it's interesting. I think it's interesting that how the platforms look at raffles and look at mystery boxes. So for those of you guys that don't know, make sure that if you are going to be utilizing this way of moving product, you know if it's legal to do on the platform you're doing it on, right? A lot of people don't realize that there's platforms that don't allow it. TikTok does not allow, mystery box, certain mystery surprise sales, I think they call them. I know even in certain platforms that you think are private, that can't be held to terms of service, you're held to terms of service. YouTube, you're held to a terms of service. Facebook, you're held to a terms of service. Discord, you're held to a terms of service. So you got to really know what your rules are in those things to do what you're going to do. That's very important. So, and we've seen it in the past where people have lost a lot of money because, whether it's their platform that they're doing it on, the platform that they're using to get paid with, things like that, say, hey, this isn't part of our terms of service, and they either take their money back or they kick you off the platform. You could lose your channel, you could lose a ton of money, you could lose the ability to use that payment processing plan. So again, look at terms of service, know what the terms of service are before you do anything on any platform.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Okay. A little side question here. I like this one. Mr. Bombtastic. Out of all the platforms out there, what's the best preferences for the panel?
What's the platform for?
Now, yeah, I was going to say,
Content?
Bombtastic.
Yeah,
Are we talking about selling, content, just hanging out? So
I think selling is eBay. eBay is still king.
Yeah. I think eBay is still king. And then I'd say I very much enjoy like Instagram claim sales. And
I was going to say, I like Instagram.
Yeah.
I think, worst case scenario, you do goods and services, you pay the 3%. It helps you grow because the people shout you out, when they're happy with you. It's like a win-win, it kind of helps you stand out in the crowd too.
Yeah.
And from a social media standpoint, the highest conversion rate out of Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, all of that is Instagram. Instagram by almost 10 to 1 when it comes to sales. Like if you're a business owner and you're trying to educate on a product, advertise it, get it out there, Instagram it's 10 to 1. Like you can have 100,000 followers on TikTok and your 10,000 on Instagram will smoke them in sales every day.
Yeah.
Because Instagram is a whole other kind of engagement beast. TikTok's there for a conversation and for the aesthetics of just looking cool. That's what TikTok's there for. It's usually a lot younger people with no money to spend.
Yeah.
Instagram's got the basis to do those things. So if you're looking for a platform that actually converts into sales, it is 100% without a question Instagram.
That's
from a social media.
That's for sure.
Go ahead, Mickey.
Oh, okay. I was just saying that. Yeah, that seems totally anecdotally true for me. Like if I got a business and an email from them, and then they had their Twitter, their YouTube, Instagram, their TikTok, the first one I'm clicking on for sure is going to be Instagram. And this is coming from somebody who loves YouTube. It's just the fastest way for me to get a sense of like, okay, who are they? Okay, let me see some pictures. Let me see what they're about. Okay, I got it.
I really love Discord right now. Discord is my favorite new place for hanging out. I think the ability to have a community, create a community on Discord is very easy. The only problem with it is that so many people feel like it's hard to learn, it's hard to understand, and it's not. It's very easy to learn, it's very easy to understand, and you can do just about anything on it. You could share web links, you can share YouTube channels, you can all get into a room and chat for the night, you can watch shows together, and like you could do so much on Discord. And I think that right now is the best place for community building. Like
I use that for video gaming a lot.
It's kind of like an open forum chat, right? It's almost like Reddit and Instagram had a baby.
Yes. And if it is intimidating, you can go on to Fiverr and you can find somebody to set you up an account, get the whole thing, get your server going, get the whole thing set, and you pay them $5. It's on fire.
Yeah.
Granted, you want a good one, you pay $30. but there are people that are great at it, that are very well known for it. It's not like a hack situation. If you are interested in a Discord server, it's always a smart move. But yeah, I've definitely enjoyed my time on Discord. I haven't used it in the comic book side of things, like you're talking about, as far as things go, Bryan, and that's probably really smart. I've always just done it for video games, like those mass mobile online player things where you're coordinating 200 people and we're all in different chats figuring out our attack. That's what I use Discord for. So I can be in the right place and, sending my ships in at the right time.
I'm really utilizing it right now for the ability to have people call in to the YouTube shows because you can bring up Discord on the side and the side screen. Yeah, you can bring up Discord on the side.
Are you using Streamlab or OBS?
So I use both. I use StreamYard for just the ease of bringing in guests that I want to interview and to be able to like share screens for content.
Pre-record.
Then I use OBS to do all the cool like engagement factors, and then I'll use Discord for building a community and for call-ins. Right, you set up a call-in room. You could say, okay, now it's time for call-ins. People go into the Discord and they can be on their phone or they can be in front of a computer on a mic, right? You can, if you want to bring them in on a video feed, you can bring them on a video feed. If they don't want to, all you have to do is just set up you can get really crazy and go and get like Voice Meter and set up a virtual, board, a music board, right? To separate all your different types of audio. It's very interesting what you can do now with very few programs. There isn't one program that does it all perfectly, but you can utilize a couple to do.
I'd love to see a Discord integration into StreamYard. That would be nice. Yes. But yeah, I was wondering about Streamlabs. I've heard a lot about Streamlabs lately, and I've seen a lot of influencers moving that way. So I'm debating moving us to it.
Whoa. We don't use that word.
We don't use that language at the table here.
Okay. We don't say the I word.
I'm sorry, bro. It's not my fault. People in this niche are stupid. But anybody over 1,000 followers technically is an influencer. So I apologize. It's maybe a dirty word in our world, but unfortunately, as a person that works in social media for a living, it's a real world and a real word. And I think we need to come to grips with that and just differentiate a seller and a salesman versus an influencer. If they're both, then that should be maybe a different term. But anybody with over 1,000 followers is an influencer. Hard news.
I think anybody with 1 follower is an influencer.
Well, I mean, my mom, but it's just facts, just speaking facts. But there's a lot of great people that make content with OBS and Streamlabs, and that's what I was debating, because we feel very limited by StreamYard. This is great for pre-records, like he said. Bryan, this is fantastic for it, and we do a lot of pre-recorded content here, but for lives, we're very limited. Yeah. So that's what I've been debating.
Well, here's what I would suggest, and we're all listen. Anybody that says that they're not good with technical stuff or software or apps, you're really limiting yourself. To get good with that stuff, literally all you have to do is search YouTube. Just go on YouTube, search how to do this on YouTube or Google, and you will get a step-by-step thing how to do it. Somebody will show you how to do it. It's very easy. That's how I've learned everything that I've ever done with this stuff. When it comes to Streamlabs and OBS, my suggestion is not to use Streamlabs OBS, but this will make sense once you look into it. But utilize Streamlabs widgets and then just download the OBS itself, right? Just use OBS. Don't use the integrated Streamlabs OBS or slobs as they call it. Yeah, I would always stick to the regular just OBS and then import those widgets and those browser feeds into OBS itself. That's the key.
Shout out to Comics of Bueller. I'm here to influence.
Did you guys, and just off the wall fact, did you guys know now that YouTube is the most used search engine in the world, even above Google? People search YouTube before they search Google. People search YouTube more than they search Google itself. It's crazy. This has become like the world's largest search engine.
Well, back to Mr. Bombastic's question, where he's just like best to sell and best, just social hang, whatever. I mean, I'm definitely, on YouTube. Like YouTube for sure is like, that's where I learn everything. That's where I watch everything. That's where most of the content I watch, even outside of comic book stuff, is all like YouTube based. So, I'm all YouTube. I'm very pro YouTube.
Absolutely. Thea, what did you do?
I just broke the matrix. Look at
this. He just froze half of him. So
what just happened?
It's, practicing some of the effects.
Yeah, I know, right?
Stream effects.
Okay.
Well, yes, it's been a heck of a ride, but no, you're absolutely right, guys. Closing time. This is the sign from God, everybody. We got 35 people in here. Please like, comment, and subscribe. We really appreciate you all. Hit that like, leave a comment. We are doing a big giveaway right now. For those that aren't paying attention, on our Instagram profile right now, you could win Batman 666. Theo, tell them what's special about this book.
Okay, let me switch to a much shittier camera here.
But you showed up, so it's beautiful.
All right, that's fine. All right, we're here. Okay, so basically, guys, we are at 681 subs. So as promised, for 500, we're giving away a Batman 666. I posted that on my Instagram. Very simple rules. You just got to be sub. Look, we're at 694. I just refreshed the page. We're at 694. So, guys, if you could like, comment, sub up, we would appreciate that. We'll be drawing the winner not this upcoming Friday, but the Friday after that. We'll be live on YouTube doing it via random.org. Very simple rules. You just got to follow Phil, myself, share it to your story. There's bonus entries for anybody that's already subbed up to us. You just send me a screenshot of the subscribed, and that's it.
That's it.
And then when we get to 1,000, we'll be doing 1,000 subscriber giveaway as well.
Hopefully within a month, like Bryan said, but it's okay. If not, we're still gonna keep showing up here for you guys regardless. We love it. So yeah. Let's see here.
Okay, let's see. Oh, one more. Hold on. We gotta read this one. Look, Truth Slayer. Shout out to you. I disagree with that completely. I mean, you are all trying to influence people's opinions right now, correct? And every show y'all do are directly trying to influence people. Yes? Question mark.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
in some way, yeah.
Yep. Yes.
Well, that's what I was saying. Like, if you, all freaking influencers
so.
don't have to like it
so.
or not.
But
my favorite's the uninfluencer.
Twitter.
I think the key is again, we're going to use our favorite word, transparency, where it's like,
yes.
I think there's everyone in this world, is trying to sell you something or influence you in some way. It's just a matter of like, how much are they obfuscating what they're selling, right? Like,
yes.
And I think that everyone here is, very, very authentic in the type of content and as far as like the types of opinions and value that they bring to the community, it's coming from a place that, I think has a lot of integrity and honesty. And I think that's, something that is a testament to you guys and a reason why I enjoy, all the work you guys do. So, we're all influencers in that way. It's just, I think
what you do with it,
what you're influencing is as important to be, put out there.
And your reputation with it, right? When you're willing to, stake your, like Bryan was talking about earlier, reputation's everything in this area. So, when you keep those things in mind and you look after your audience, then it's those kinds of people that are responsible with their audience that matter. So yeah, 100%.
Yeah. I think it's all about integrity. And I think, honestly, a lot of people don't say it, but if you practice what you preach, you should be all right.
Very important. Very important point. And that also goes for, in your everyday life, right? Like one of the things that, and I don't want this to sound too, like, I guess the word is petty, but it's important that if you have been wronged by somebody, or if you feel you have been wronged by somebody, one, to reach out and deal with it in a in a construct, like a good way, right? And not
Mhm.
immediately go to Twitter and say this person's a jackass, this and that. It could have been just a mistake. And then two, if this is a person that you don't trust anymore, don't spend your money with them anymore. That's very important.
Word. Yeah.
Don't spend your money with them anymore. Don't watch them anymore. We see that a lot in our end, behind the scenes, and in the world that we kind of live in, unfortunately. And at some point, certain artists are going to quit working with certain retailers because of what their reputation is, right?
Yeah.
That's so
Right.
important. And the way that artists work now, in the past, they would work with the publisher. Now they work hand in hand with the retailers more than just the publisher. And they're going to quit working with retailers that are, jerks. They're going to quit working with retailers that they don't trust. And so should you out there. Spend your money with people that you trust and respect.
Yep. And always be interested in people that are happy to give you both sides of a coin too. Anybody that's not willing to give you another side of an argument just because they disagree with it, those are the people that are, I would actually say they're trying to push a cult on you. If there is it's that whole Sith, mentality of there is no in between. There is only, everything's an absolute, right? That's where you got to say to yourself, all right, maybe you're worse than the situation. So keep it in mind. People respect. But gosh, guys, we've gone so long. We're coming up on, nearly 2 hours. Theo, any departing words, any things we want to highlight, or a question that we need to make sure we get to before we close it out for the night?
There's a few in here. We could definitely address some of the comments in here. So, okay. Hey, just so you know, not everybody's drank the Kool-Aid. Okay. Some of us took a sip and spit it out, but still like to party there. Just letting you know. Let's see. Yeah, definitely. Let's not have any more acetates on any books. Although one more thing that needs to be said about that, though, because every time I see that word, there's one word that's missing from that. Can anybody in the panel take a guess what that is?
Clayton Crane? No.
God, no. CGC.
Yeah.
CGC. Because as somebody who was there were 9 9s and 10s graded with the blue label when these were available to be purchased.
Yeah.
Not only did that validate that book at the time was a legit book, but it gave all of us buyers confidence in that product. So I think that's something that always needs to be stated. And I will state that until the end of time.
I think that's fair.
It starts at the top, people. It never starts at the bottom. If you're looking at a pyramid, always look at the tippy top, okay? Don't forget that.
I'd agree with that. Well, everybody, thank you so much for joining tonight. It's been a fantastic evening. Gosh, everybody, seriously, nothing but love all the way around. For all of us that have not had the opportunity already to see these killers on their accounts, Swagglehaus up on the top left. On the bottom left, we've got Bryan McClay of Beyond Wednesdays. Make sure you are looking at their channel, checking out their content. Amazing guys in here. And for those that are joining us for the first time, thank you for coming out. We would love for you to like and comment and subscribe. And if not, maybe come back and check us out again some other time. And hopefully we'll win you over at that point. Because like we said earlier, we're not going anywhere. We're here for quite some time, unfortunately for you. But thank you. Thank you so much for joining. Anybody else closing? What do you guys got going on the rest of this week before we close out?
Tomorrow I'll be jumping on Comic Book Shopping Network from 5 p.m. till 7 p.m. Eastern. Shout out to Jesse James Comics and Jen King at Space Cadet for creating Comic Book Shopping Network. It is a Facebook group for selling. And it's basically my first time selling on there, so I don't expect much, but I think that it's important to utilize every available platform to either sell or create content. One, try not to stick to just one, and we'll see how it plays out. So if you guys want to check that out tomorrow on Comic Book Shopping Network on Facebook, you can find that all the links and stuff in my link tree in my bio.
Okay. And just thanks again, guys, for having me on the show. It's always great sharing the screen with you all, so I really appreciate it. If you guys don't know, Swagglehaus got a YouTube channel. It's called Swagglehaus. Got an Instagram account, Swagglehaus, and try to make some comic book content. I'm sure I'll make some videos this week. Don't have any in the can right now, so we'll cross that bridge when we get there. And then I also got a Kickstarter for a comic book I wrote, which the guys were nice enough to share at the beginning. So if you want to check that out and give it a back or a try, I would definitely appreciate that. And I don't think it's too far out to promote, but I'll be at WinterCon at the end of the month. So hopefully we'll see some Southern California residents there.
Heck
nice.
Yeah, bro.
So guys, make sure you go to Swagglehaus's YouTube, sub them up. Make sure you guys go to Beyond Wednesdays, check them out. They're live every Saturday. And yeah, guys, please like, comment, subscribe on this one. We'd really appreciate that. Phil, any last thoughts?
Nope. Click what you love, folks. Can't go wrong. Have a great night. See you next week.